Well, church, welcome back to Rise Up, where we're going through the books of 1st and 2nd Samuel. Last week, we found ourselves in this transition of authority, right? The prophet Samuel is giving his kind of leaving office speech. He's still around in the rest of the story. He's still an important character, but he's taking a step back and letting Saul, the newly anointed king of Israel, step up and be the spiritual leader of Israel. And so Saul has already passed one of his first leadership tests a couple of chapters ago when he leads his men to victory in battle. He knows that he's a competent warrior. But now we're going to have to see what he's like as a spiritual leader. And so Saul gets into another battle. This is a period of time where Israel was in constant conflict with the nations around them as they're trying to secure the borders of the promised land. And so Saul finds himself in yet another battle. And the priest, in this case Samuel, is supposed to come and give an offering before the Lord in order to bless them in battle. There's no chance that Saul was going to go into battle without God on his side. And so they wait, and they wait, and they wait, and Samuel's not showing up. And Saul starts to stress, and he's stuck in this very difficult position where he has to make this choice. Do I go into battle without God's blessing, without offering worship to the Lord first, and risk him not being on our side and us losing this battle? Or do I do the job of a priest? I'm the king. I'm now the one in charge of Israel's spiritual well-being, and the prophet who's supposed to do it isn't showing up. So maybe it falls on me to just offer the sacrifice, even though the Levitical law forbids anyone but the priest to offer this sacrifice. And so this is the dilemma that Saul faces, and he wrestles between the two choices, but the men are starting to get antsy, and he's starting to get insecure about, are they going to start questioning my leadership, and I need to take control? And so Saul acts. Instead of waiting, he acts. And Saul gives the sacrifice to God. And right as he does, Samuel walks up. Samuel goes, "What have you done?" Saul says, you weren't here. You were supposed to be here. What were you doing? I did what needed to be done. And look at Samuel's response. This is 1 Samuel 13, verse 13. And Samuel said to Saul, "You have done foolishly. You have not kept the command of the Lord your God, with which he commanded you. For then the Lord would have established your kingdom over Israel forever. But now your kingdom shall not continue. The Lord has sought out a man after his own heart, and the Lord has commanded him to be prince over his people, because you have not kept what the Lord commanded you." And so Samuel tells Saul, "Man, you chose wrong. You blew it. You overstepped your bounds." And if you've been watching the other videos in this series, we've kind of talked about this, how this was set up from the first time that we meet Saul, where Samuel gives him the piece of meat that was reserved for the priest, and it kind of teaches Saul, you're the king, you can do whatever you want, go ahead. These rules don't apply to you. And Saul slowly starts pushing the envelope further and further, seeing what he can get away with until he crosses the line here, and Samuel says, because you've done this, God is going to replace you. God has rejected you as king over Israel, and he's going to give your throne to someone else, someone after his own heart. And there's a lot we can learn from this. I think one of the things that we can take out of this is Saul's mentality, where he thinks that because of his position, because of the place that he's in, that he can push and push and push, and the rules don't apply to him. And anytime we start to think that I'm me, the rules don't apply to me, we're setting ourselves up for failure. But another important thing that we learn here is to wait on the Lord. It's Saul's anxiousness, it's Saul's need to act right now that gets him in trouble. If he had just waited a couple more minutes, Samuel would have been there. I think there's so many times in our life where we can see the enemy preparing for battle around us. We can see the people that are supposed to be on our side looking at us, questioning our leadership. We can feel that pressure, like, I gotta make something happen right now. And we can take a step that we're not meant to take. We just need to take a step back and wait on the Lord's timing. And so wherever you're at right now, church, that's my encouragement to you. Sometimes we need to act. When God says move, we gotta move. Sometimes we drag our feet, and we really need to be ready to jump into action. But there are other times where everyone is telling us, come on, what's going to happen, make a decision. And what we're really supposed to do is wait on the Lord and seek Him.